Hello, my name is Amy Sturkey. I am a pediatric physical therapist, and I'm here with Leah Smith. And Leah is someone I met maybe a couple of months ago, she was doing an internship at our practice, and most of the people I'd interviewed before were old clients of mine. You were never a client of mine.
Nope.
Can you tell me about yourself?
Well, for starters, as Amy said, my name is Leah, and I'm 21 years old, just recently graduated from Winthrop University with a Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science, and I'm on the spectrum.
Awesome. Can you tell me when you were diagnosed?
I was around like late elementary school, early middle school, so like that 9, 10, 11 age range.
And did you know immediately when you were diagnosed, or did your parents tell you later, or how did that work?
I don't think I exactly knew right away because again, I was so young.
Right.
But it's also just me and my mom, so my mom raised me as a single mom, and she told me about it when I was sitting at the dinner table after she had seen, coincidentally, a Dr. Phil episode about this one girl. She was on the spectrum like me and had actually won a Miss USA title or something.
Wow.
And that's when she was like, oh my gosh, maybe it'll be a good thing to just tell Leah. So
had you watched it too? Were you watching the same program?
I don't remember, but my mom just told me about this recently, so
You don't remember it then?
I personally don't remember it, no.
Okay.
No.
and so you don't remember how you felt when you found out, or?
No, not really.
Because some people say that after they found out that they have autism, especially if they're more minimally affected by autism, that it gives them some relief. To know that that's why they might process information differently, or does that ring true for you or not, or? I
mean, I personally don't really remember how I reacted, if I'm being honest.
But now does it?
But thinking back on it, now that I know more and everything, it's whoa, it totally makes sense as to why I was behaving the way that I was, and maybe why I was a little more on the so-called sensitive side of things, compared to my peers growing up, noise sensitivity and tactile, for example, I would tug at my shirt a lot and make sure that my collar wasn't so, I guess, tight on my neck.
Right.
Just because I'm just
So you had tactile sensitivities that you think might have been one of the indicators that you had autism.
Yeah, and then also just my sensitivity to super loud noises. I guess in horror movies, jump scares, but real life to actual sounds that are really loud. For a long time, I used to be really scared of my own car horn.
So you just, how did that, you were afraid to, you didn't want to, even if there was a big problem, you didn't want to push your horn?
Well, okay, not like that, but when I would be locking my car.
Okay.
Yeah, after the first time, and then the second time to make sure that it's locked.
Right.
I used to be scared of my own car beep horn thingy, whatever you call it.
And when you were younger, did the sound of the vacuum cleaner or flushing toilets and things like that bother you?
Definitely the vacuum cleaner for sure. I remember the first time that my mom and I went through a car wash when I was really little, and I cried as soon as we came out of the car wash and went straight to the vacuuming of the seats and everything. I just sat there in the car and I cried because I was just I don't like this.
Right. What do you think causes autism?
That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure, but obviously there are tons of theories out there, maybe partially genetics or environmental factors, nature versus nurture, but
Right.
I feel that's a really loaded question that's hard to answer, honestly.
I agree.
But
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I think it might be as well, but who knows? Because it's still been, unable to be discovered fully by researchers and stuff.
I do think it's interesting. When I first started, I started being a physical therapist in 1988, And when I first started, I didn't have any clients with autism on my caseload, not a single one. And I would say maybe 15 years ago was my first client with autism. And now I'd say easily a third of my clients have autism or on the spectrum. And it's hard for me. I remember when I first started working with people with autism, and I think the first ones that came were not more minimally involved people, more significantly involved people. And I remember most of my caseload had been people who were late walkers or children with Down syndrome or people with cerebral palsy. And the way you approach someone treatment-wise who has autism is really quite different. And it took me a long time to kind of come up with a philosophy of how to help people and work with people who are on the spectrum. So I do think maybe those people weren't getting treatment, but my gut feel is that there are more people who are on the spectrum now than there were before. Do you have a feeling on that?
I definitely think so, for sure. But also it's like really easy for some people to go undiagnosed for so long. Like the presentation between like males and females, like there's a huge distinct difference in how the symptoms present.
Right.
And like for example, like one of my best friends like is on the spectrum like me, but didn't get diagnosed till they were 23.
A female?
So yes.
Uh-huh.
So there's just like that discrepancy, but also if you look at the research going back, like it's super heavily biased towards having male subjects instead of female subjects. So like there's a lot of that right. Points to the extreme bias, but also like feeds into like how females can be like undiagnosed for so long or misdiagnosed with something else like ADHD or anxiety or depression or something.
Right.
Like it's really, yeah.
Right. I'm trying to just think of my caseload right now of what percentages. I know early on it was probably 50-50. I'm just thinking on my caseload now. It's probably 50-50 right now on my caseload as a physical therapist with people with autism. When was the first time you remember meeting somebody with autism?
Ooh, gosh, taking a little dive into my childhood. I don't really remember.
Because you say now you've got a friend that has autism.
Well, yeah, I mean, as an adult,
right?
Like,
was there someone else? But you said you got diagnosed late elementary, early middle school. Was there somebody else in your school?
I genuinely don't remember since that was so long ago for me.
Right.
But I mean, I guess technically I already knew, like, because I have two cousins who are both on the spectrum, but they're also male. Uh-huh. So like they got diagnosed way sooner.
All right, so you met, those were probably the first other people you knew?
Yeah, I would, if I had to take my best guesstimate per se, yeah.
And were they much more significantly involved than you or similar?
Obviously, like I said, male versus females, it's very different.
Right.
One of them, it's a little more obvious to tell, and that's the older one out of the two of them.
Right.
And then the other one, I guess you could say he's more like me.
Okay.
But like male.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And with people who are on the spectrum, they often have areas of keen interest or stems. Do you have any of those?
I would say so. Like, I have an absolute love for turtles in particular. Like, they're my favorite animal.
Oh, I do love turtles.
Like, when I was on a cruise vacation with my mom and we went swimming with them and Grand Cayman, my heart melted into a million pieces and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
And do you think that was more than like a typical person would really like turtles?
I guess so, because like I have like this, what seems like to my family, an endless collection of turtle themed things. So like turtle, like stuffed animals, squishmallow. I painted a couple ceramic turtles, and made one in like my middle school art class one time, and it was like a little, what is it called? Like a little container that had like a lid on top.
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
yeah,
You
so
took the shell off and...
no. I made one of the spots, like the lid on top, so that you could take it off. And so there's that, but also a bunch of other things.
Huh.
Yeah.
And do you feel like your stems or intense interests have changed over time, or are they?
Definitely, because I remember some from my childhood that were like just temporary. Like after I went on my first like cruise vacation with my mom, like I was really obsessed with like cruises for the longest time, for maybe like, gosh, 3-4 years maybe.
Cruises.
Like yes, because like I had so much fun, and I was like, oh my gosh, these destinations in the Caribbean and the Bahamas are so fun and like really gorgeous. And I was like hyper fixated, I guess, like on focusing on like searching and researching about like each cruise line and like how many ships yeah, I know, it's wild.
Well, I mean, that's what happens, is often there are areas of hyperfocus, so it sounds like that's true for you.
Yeah.
We're just starting, but we've already burned up 10 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
How?
I am really enjoying getting to know you and talking to you, and why don't we meet again on the next video? All right, we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. If you liked this video and would like to be notified by email when the next video comes out, click the subscribe button here and click the golden bell icon and ensure notifications are enabled on your account.